Style is a way of saying who you are without even saying a word. On this episode of Casual, we have our very own style icon, Mr. Krishen Riyat. So, hi Krishen, how are you?
Hello, thank you for having me. This is really nice.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure having you here. So, let's get started. So, Krishen, I understand that you've got an engineering degree from the UK, if I'm not mistaken. So, how did you resort to fashion?
It's actually quite closely linked because in my third year when I was in the UK is when I found, the entire skate culture and, the sneaker culture there.
Right.
A lot of skate shops, people wearing sneakers that I'd never seen around, people wearing outfits that really caught my eye. I think I've always been into fashion because of my mother from a very young age. And then in the UK, I feel like there was just nobody to judge, there weren't friends, there wasn't family. So I started experimenting with my style and everything. I just got engrossed in the culture, honestly.
Okay, that's so cool. And I think you're a sneakerhead, huh?
It's come to that. But I think every fashion person now really enjoys sneakers. It's just part of your style. So,
Right. So tell us a little about how you became a fashion influencer. Like, what keeps you motivated and keeps you going?
So honestly, I feel like when I was in the lockdown, I saw that the sneaker culture was booming. It was still at a very nascent stage. It really still is at a very nascent stage. But I saw that little gap that, there'd probably be influencers that would be needed. And I really enjoy like being in front of the camera, photography, videography and all of that. I thought I could probably, grow my personal brand in the fashion industry of that sorts. In the lockdown, that's when I started posting content, and it was a very conscious decision to like grow my page, and to reach out to more people, to influence them in some way, to get influenced myself, So yeah, that's how it got started.
Yeah.
How I keep going. Once I started, there was no stopping. Honestly,
right.
Yeah.
You don't have to look back when you start.
Yeah, exactly. I just keep going.
So, what are the first few steps that you took to create a footholding of yourself in this field?
Obviously, there wasn't a plan as to how I got here. It's not like it was very calculated. But I knew the basic steps where I have to be consistent. I have to be myself. I don't have to keep copying others because I feel like that happens a lot right now. I did copy people, but then I also added my twist to it, added my influence to it.
It's like getting inspired rather than copying.
100%, it's extremely important. So I think there's no recipe that this is how you get started, but just be consistent, be yourself, and put yourself out there, So yeah.
That's cool. And what do you think about sustainable fashion? Like, what's your take?
Extremely, extremely important. And I'm super happy that that it's sort of becoming cool now. To be sustainable is to be cool. But I think very subconsciously been propagating just sustainable fashion as to thrifting or revamping your clothing and repeating outfits, repeating pieces, matching pieces. Since the very start of my page, and I think I got that from the UK, and also, thrifting. The thrifting culture has grown in India as well, and thrifting allows you to have like unique pieces. You don't always have to go to I don't resort to fast fashion at all, man. I'm always.
I think thrifting is really growing in India.
Yeah, it's through the roof. Yeah, it's through the roof. Yeah, and people are taking it seriously. People are learning about pieces and their stories, and it becomes a treasure to them, so they don't really throw it, they pass it down. So yeah, sustainability extremely important. I mean, the clothing industry is very, very polluting, so yeah, I'm trying to do my bit, but obviously I lack a few times here and there, but I'm still trying, I'm still learning.
Right. And can you guide us through the process of your brand collaborations and how you ideate your work for the same?
Yeah, it is slightly different for like smaller brands and for bigger brands, and I'm grateful that I'm on a stage right now where I'm getting a bit of both. I'm trying to find that balance. I'm even finding that balance in terms of like the prices that I charge, in my commercials and everything, where smaller brands, I give them an opportunity to probably work with me, because even though they don't have a big budget and all of that. In terms of ideation, I think I'm always learning about the brand. I'm always talking to the founders first, and I'm always looking at their website, their pieces, where they take inspiration from, and then maybe adapt that to the content that I'm making for them, and maybe my own little twist. That's it.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's true. And in a field full of glamour such as fashion, there are any struggles that you personally face as a fashion influencer?
Struggles.
Or any challenges that you have faced as a fashion influencer?
I mean, personally, I feel like because I have a full-time job as well right now, balancing everything out does become a little tough. But that's also fun, the fun part of it.
Right.
It is honestly, it is glamorous, the job, because you're meeting really exciting people and you're in really exciting places, but it's not as glamorous as people think, if I'm being honest. It is a struggle to physically and mentally to make content, to think of content, and to stay in your lane, to stick to your niche. So
it's very different what people see and what you do.
Yeah, sometimes for sure. Sometimes it really is as it seems, but sometimes it's just, people do have that notion that, it's extremely glamorous and this and that. It's not as glamorous as people think it is.
Right. And how would you advise one to pick a style for themselves rather than blinding, themselves, like following the trends?
Yeah, I get that question extremely, extremely often. And there are just a few points that I always tell people, and that's just experiment. Just start experimenting. Try different styles, try different silhouettes, try different colors. And there'll come a point where after you keep trying and experimenting, where, you feel comfortable in something. You like what you're wearing. You're comfortable in it, which is extremely important. And then you probably mix different aesthetics and you just find your own style, So that's how I go about it. That's the advice that I probably give. But my style is evolving every 6 months, 7 months. So keep experimenting, obviously.
Experimenting is the key.
Yeah.
So, Instagram for a fact has become a platform where everybody wants to be an influencer or start a business.
Yeah.
So, what's your take in staying afloat if this platform was to vanish someday?
Yeah, really applies to me, because if my Instagram's gone, I've got nothing. I've got nothing, because, it's extremely, extremely important that you have different social media platforms. Now, if you have grown to a certain stage, which I should really get into, I've been thinking about YouTube and, probably, just growing my personal brand there, because my Instagram doesn't see a lot of the real me. I think YouTube can become that space. So, I've got so many friends of mine who are in the influencer space who have lost their accounts and they had nothing else, and that's terrible. That's, so it's an extreme.
Everything depends on your platform. Like, you post your content on those platforms.
Yeah, exactly. So it's important to grow your personal brand, right? But imagine you've grown into 20-30K and your Instagram's gone. So really important to diversify, have different social media platforms. Extremely important, actually.
Right.
Yeah.
So everyone thinks that a fashion influencer is simply about glamour, So tell me about how there is more to the field than just meeting with the eye.
Yeah, 100%. Honestly, I think people really underestimate how much of mental exhaustion and also physical at times it is. You've got to think of ideas all the time. And it's, it's not a 9 to 5. It's a 24/7 job, really. You've got to talk to your followers. You've got to build that relationship. You've got to look out for trends, look out for different strategies, understand what's going on in the market, how you can improve. And it's just constant thought process. And that can get overwhelming at times, And then you obviously have to find the time to make content, ideate it, edit it. Shoot it. And yes, it is more than what people think it is. Yeah.
Right. So that was so much of getting into the fashion industry. So let's get into our rapid fire round.
Oh, okay.
So
how rapid has it to be?
Okay, you can take your time, not very rapid.
Okay, all right. Yeah.
So what's your favorite collaboration till now?
Ooh.
So
There was one with this brand called Everman, which when I did it at time wasn't probably my favorite or whatever, but it was still really cool where they had some simple pieces. I gave them my ideas, and has to be that rapid? No, right? I can just tell you.
You can just talk about it.
And it was this brand called Everman where I thought of an idea and it was quite simple, but the brand still went ahead with it. So it wasn't a lot of work, but it was still sort of tasteful.
Okay.
And I went to an event very, in the recent past, and I met the founder, and he just gave me a tight hug, and he was like, "Yo, that was so cool," and
Wow.
it really grew my business to a certain level, and I got some really quality followers and audience, and I'm grateful, and that was amazing. So at that point, probably it became like my favorite.
That was nice.
Yeah, exactly.
And what are the 5 things you think that it should be a must-have in somebody's wardrobe?
5 must things. Oh my god. I'd probably say, for me, it can be different for like people with different styles. For me, it's probably some cargos, a hoodie, white sneakers, and probably a black tee.
Black is important.
Black's important. It's universal. Universal.
Yeah. And if not a fashion influencer, what would you be?
I'd be an engineer, which I still am. I'm an engineer. I work full time, and I'd probably just stick to that. But also, I'm really passionate about just people and hospitality and all of that. So I'd really get into that of some sorts. Probably I had thought about starting like a dessert bar just before the lockdown, and thank God I did. But so that's what
you would have a lot of people coming to your. And I have a little game for you.
Okay.
So I'm gonna tell you 3 colors, and you have to tell me what goes well with it. Like what.
Okay.
Okay. So the first is orange, green, and white.
Orange, green, and white. Wow. Wow. Like, do I tell you like another color, or do I tell you like how I'd wear them?
How we'd wear that?
Ooh, I'd probably go for some bright green pants.
Okay.
I'd go for like an orange t-shirt and maybe like an orange pullover or an orange bag. That's it.
And a white tee with that?
Yeah, and just a white tee.
That's nice. I could imagine. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Not too overboard.
Nice.
Yeah.
And the second one is pink, blue, and silver.
Pink, blue, and silver. Ooh. Blue pants, maybe some denims. Do you say white? Was the white? Pink.
That was
shit.
pink.
Okay. Pink, blue, and
Silver.
And silver. Oh shit. Pink tee, silver jacket. I don't even know.
A silver bomber jacket would be
A silver
nice,
bomber
huh?
jacket, right? Or maybe some silver shoes.
Shoes.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't know. Yeah.
Thank
Maybe.
you. Thank you so much, Krishen, for having me. It was so fun having you here.
Thank you so much for having me.
And I would like to ask you one more thing. That what do you think about casual? Like, how is it different from the other interviews you've been to?
This was super fun. It was very conversational. It was very candid. The questions were really intriguing as well. Very informative for whoever's watching.
Right.
Every other like people I've spoken to or media houses has been very scripted. So not that much fun. But yeah, this was great. Thank you.
Right. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming here.
Awesome.
I would also like to thank Lumiere Studios for having their props and their studio.